Have you ever wondered about the silent signs of a stroke? It's a question that might not cross your mind often, but it should. Strokes can strike anyone, at any time, and the consequences can be devastating. It's a question we should all be asking ourselves, because understanding these signs can make a world of difference. Imagine being able to recognize the early symptoms and take immediate action, because strokes are more common than you might think. In fact, they are one of the leading causes of death and disability worldwide. Every year, millions of people suffer from strokes, and many of these cases could have been prevented with timely intervention. And recognizing the early warning signs can literally mean the difference between life and death. Quick response is crucial. The faster you can identify a stroke, the better the chances of recovery. We're going to dive deep into 7 crucial warning signs of a stroke that you absolutely cannot afford to ignore. These signs are your body's way of signaling that something is seriously wrong. These signs can be subtle, but they're incredibly important. They might manifest as something minor like a sudden headache or a slight numbness in your arm. But don't be fooled by their subtlety. We'll break down each one, explain what to look for, and why it's so vital to act fast if you or someone you know experiences them. Time is brain, as they say in the medical community. Every second counts. If you only watch one video today, make sure you watch this one, all the way till the end. The information we're about to share could be the most important thing you learn today. Because we're not just giving you information, we're empowering you with the knowledge to potentially save a life, maybe even your own. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it's life-saving power. And before we get started, hit that like button. Let's get 1,000 likes on this one. Share the video with your friends, family, and anyone you care about. The more people who know these signs, the better. And subscribe so you don't miss out on the next important video update. We have a lot more valuable content coming your way, and you won't want to miss it. Our first silent sign is weakness or numbness, and it usually affects just one side of the body. Now, this isn't always a dramatic, can't move your arm kind of weakness. It can be much more subtle. You might notice a slight droop in your face, especially when you try to smile. Or maybe your arm feels unusually heavy when you lift it, or your leg feels like it's dragging a little when you walk. These subtle changes can be easy to dismiss, but remember, strokes often affect one side of the brain, which controls the opposite side of the body. So, any sudden weakness or numbness, even if it seems minor, should never be ignored. It could be your body's way of sounding the alarm. I remember reading a story about a woman named Sarah who experienced this very thing. She was at work, going about her day, when she noticed a strange tingling sensation in her left hand. She ignored it at first, thinking it was probably just a pinched nerve. But then, as she reached for her coffee cup, she realized she couldn't quite seem to grip it properly. Her hand felt weak, and she even felt a little unsteady on her feet. Thankfully, Sarah's colleague recognized the signs of a stroke and immediately called for help. Because she got to the hospital quickly, Sarah received the treatment she needed and made a full recovery. Her story is a powerful reminder that time is of the essence when it comes to strokes. Moving on to our second silent sign of a stroke, and this one can be particularly frightening: trouble speaking or understanding speech. Again, this doesn't always mean a complete loss of speech. It might start with something as simple as slurring your words or having trouble finding the right word in a conversation. You might feel like you have cotton mouth, even though you're not thirsty. Or on the flip side, you might have difficulty understanding what others are saying to you. It's like your brain is struggling to process language. This happens because the areas of the brain that control speech and language are incredibly sensitive to changes in blood flow, which is exactly what a stroke disrupts. Imagine for a moment that you're trying to tell someone something important, but the words just won't come out right. Or you're listening to a loved one tell you a story, but their words sound jumbled and confused. That's what it can be like to experience speech difficulties during a stroke. It's frustrating, scary, and it can make it difficult to get the help you need. That's why it's so important to be aware of this sign, and to take it seriously if it ever happens to you or someone around you. Don't brush it off as fatigue or a senior moment. Remember, time is brain, and every second counts. Alright folks, let's talk about vision problems. Vision is one of those things we often take for granted until something goes wrong. We rely on our eyes for almost everything we do, from reading and driving to recognizing faces and enjoying the beauty of the world around us, and I'm not talking about needing to renew your prescription. Sure, it's annoying when you can't see the fine print or when things get a bit fuzzy, but that's usually a gradual change. What we're focusing on today is something much more alarming. We're talking about sudden changes, weird stuff happening with your sight. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that your vision has drastically changed overnight. It's not just inconvenient, it can be downright terrifying. Maybe things get blurry. Maybe you lose vision in one eye, or perhaps you see flashes of light or floaters that weren't there before. These symptoms can come out of nowhere and leave you feeling disoriented and scared, or maybe it's like someone pulled a curtain over half your field of vision. Not normal, right? This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a major red flag that something could be seriously wrong. This is one of those stroke symptoms that can really sneak up on you. Strokes can affect different parts of the brain, and when they impact the areas responsible for vision, the results can be sudden and severe. You might think your eyes are just tired, especially if you've been staring at a screen all day, or haven't been getting enough sleep. It's easy to dismiss these symptoms as something minor, or maybe you need a stronger pair of reading glasses. But trust me, if you're experiencing any kind of sudden vision disturbance, it's not something to take lightly. Especially in just one eye, don't mess around. This isn't the time to play doctor and self-diagnose. This is your brain trying to tell you something is wrong, and it's using your eyes to send the message. Think of it as an urgent telegram from your brain, signaling that it needs immediate attention. This is your brain trying to tell you something is wrong, and it's using your eyes to send the message. Ignoring these signs can lead to more severe consequences, so it's crucial to act quickly. Think about it, your eyes are directly connected to your brain, so if there's a problem with blood flow up there, your vision is going to be one of the first things to go haywire. The eyes are like windows to your brain's health. Think about it, your eyes are directly connected to your brain, so if there's a problem with blood flow up there, your vision is going to be one of the first things to go haywire. It's a clear signal that something is amiss. So if there's a problem with blood flow up there, your vision is going to be one of the first things to go haywire. It's like a canary in a coal mine, warning you of danger. Your vision is going to be one of the first things to go haywire. So bottom line, sudden vision changes, take them seriously, don't brush them off as just another annoyance. So, bottom line, sudden vision changes, take them seriously, get yourself to the emergency room, call 911, do what you gotta do. Early detection is key when it comes to strokes, and catching it early can make all the difference in the world. Get yourself to the emergency room, call 911, do what you gotta do, don't wait and see if it gets better on its own. Time is of the essence. Call 911, do what you gotta do. The faster you get medical help, the better your chances of minimizing any potential damage. Early detection is key when it comes to strokes, and catching it early can make all the difference in the world. The sooner you get treatment, the better your chances of a full recovery, and catching it early can make all the difference in the world. Remember, your vision is precious and so is your health. Don't take any chances when it comes to sudden changes in your sight. Stay vigilant and take action immediately. Now you might be wondering why vision problems are such a big deal when it comes to strokes. Well, here's the deal. Your brain is like the control center of your body, right? It's responsible for everything, and different parts of your brain control different functions. Well, guess what? There's a specific part of your brain that's responsible for processing visual information. So, when a stroke occurs and blood flow to that part of the brain is disrupted, it can mess with your vision. It's like this. Imagine your brain is a house and the visual cortex is the living room. A stroke is like a power outage, and depending on where the outage is, the lights might go out in the living room, even if the rest of the house still has power. That's why vision problems can be a major red flag for a stroke. It's your brain's way of saying, hey, something's not right down here, we need backup. Alright folks, next up we're talking about dizziness and loss of coordination. These symptoms can be unsettling and sometimes even frightening. They can come on suddenly and without any warning, leaving you feeling vulnerable and unsure of what's happening to your body. Have you ever felt like the room was spinning, even though you were perfectly still? This sensation, often described as vertigo, can make it difficult to focus, or even stand up straight. Or maybe you stumbled over your own feet for no apparent reason. It can be embarrassing and confusing, especially if it happens in public or while you're trying to go about your daily activities. These things can happen to anyone from time to time, but when they come on suddenly and out of the blue, it could be a sign of a stroke. A stroke can disrupt the normal function of your brain, leading to these unexpected and severe symptoms. We're talking about a sudden onset of dizziness, loss of balance, or difficulty walking. These symptoms can be severe and may make it impossible to move around safely without assistance. Now I know what you're thinking. John, I get dizzy when I stand up too fast sometimes. This is a common experience and usually not a cause for concern. And you're right, that kind of dizziness is usually harmless. It's often due to a sudden drop in blood pressure when you stand up quickly, and it typically passes within a few seconds. But what we're talking about here is different. This is not the kind of dizziness that goes away on its own after a few moments. This is a sudden, intense dizziness that comes out of nowhere. It can be accompanied by other symptoms like confusion, difficulty speaking, or numbness in the face or limbs. Think of it like this. Your brain is responsible for keeping you upright and balanced. It constantly processes information from your eyes, ears, and muscles to help you stay steady. It's like the gyroscope in your phone, always making sure you're oriented correctly. When everything is working properly, you don't even notice it. But when a stroke hits, that gyroscope can go haywire, leaving you feeling dizzy and disoriented. It's crucial to recognize these symptoms and seek medical attention immediately, as early intervention can make a significant difference in the outcome. Look, I know it's easy to dismiss dizziness or a little stumble. You might think you're just tired, or maybe you had one too many cups of coffee. But I'm telling you, when these symptoms come on suddenly and without explanation, you need to take them seriously. Remember, we're talking about your brain here, the most important organ in your body. And when your brain's not happy, it's going to let you know in some pretty strange ways. Dizziness and coordination problems are just two of those ways. So, what should you do if you experience these symptoms? Same as always, call 911 or get to the emergency room immediately. Don't wait around to see if it gets better, because with a stroke, time is of the essence. The faster you get treatment, the better your chances of a full recovery. So, don't be a hero, don't try to tough it out, get help right away, and let the medical professionals figure out what's going on. Alright folks, let's talk about another silent sign of a stroke that you definitely don't want to ignore. Problems with movement. And I'm not talking about tripping over your own feet because you're a little clumsy. We're talking about sudden weakness, paralysis, or difficulty moving a part of your body, especially on one side. Maybe you try to pick up a glass, and you find that you just can't seem to get your arm to cooperate. Or maybe you're walking, and suddenly one of your legs feels like it's filled with lead. These are not normal occurrences, and they could be a sign that something is seriously wrong. Think about it this way. Your brain sends signals to your muscles, telling them what to do. But when a stroke occurs, those signals can get scrambled, or even completely blocked. It's like this. Imagine you're trying to send a text message, but your phone is having a major meltdown. The message gets garbled and the words come out all jumbled up. That's kind of what's happening with your brain and your muscles during a stroke. The brain is trying to communicate, but the message isn't getting through properly. This can lead to weakness, paralysis, or difficulty moving certain parts of your body. And just like with those other stroke symptoms we talked about, early detection is key. The sooner you recognize that something is wrong and get help, the better your chances of minimizing the damage. So if you experience any sudden problems with movement, any weakness or paralysis, don't hesitate for a second. Call 911 or get yourself to the emergency room ASAP. Your brain will thank you for it. Alright folks, we're moving on to sign number 6, and this one can be pretty scary, fainting or seizures. Now, I'm not talking about tripping on a rug and briefly blacking out, we're talking about suddenly losing consciousness, especially if it's accompanied by other stroke symptoms we've already talked about. Remember, a stroke happens when blood flow to the brain is interrupted. This can mess with your brain's electrical activity, which can lead to fainting or even full-blown seizures. If you or someone around you experiences a sudden loss of consciousness, especially alongside other stroke symptoms, call 911 immediately. Time is brain, folks, and every second counts when it comes to strokes. Now I know what you might be thinking, John, I faint when I get my blood drawn. Does that mean I'm having a stroke? Listen, not every fainting spell is a stroke, but it's crucial to pay attention to your body and any other symptoms you might be experiencing. If you're ever unsure, it's always better to err on the side of caution and get checked out by a medical professional. Remember that story I mentioned earlier about the guy who brushed off his dizziness as just being tired? Don't be that guy. If something feels off, if something seems different, don't ignore it. Get it checked out. It could literally save your life. Alright, on to our final silent sign of a stroke: sudden, severe headaches, especially if they come out of nowhere. I'm not talking about your typical tension headache after a long day staring at a computer screen. I'm talking about a headache that hits you like a bolt of lightning, a pain so intense you've never felt anything like it before. This kind of headache is often described as a thunderclap headache, and for good reason. It's sudden, it's severe, and it can be a major red flag for a stroke. Remember, a stroke occurs when blood flow to the brain is disrupted, and this can cause a sudden surge in pressure inside your head, leading to a blinding headache. Now I know we're all guilty of playing doctor on WebMD from time to time, but when it comes to sudden severe headaches, especially if they're accompanied by other stroke symptoms, don't mess around. Call 911, get to a hospital, and let the professionals figure it out. Remember, early detection is key when it comes to strokes. The faster you get treatment, the better your chances of a full recovery. So if you experience a sudden severe headache that you've never felt before, don't hesitate, get help immediately. So there you have it, folks. 7 silent signs of a stroke you absolutely cannot ignore. These signs can be subtle, but are very important. Remember, strokes can happen to anyone, at any age, so it's crucial to be aware of these signs and symptoms, and to act fast if you or someone you know experiences them. Time is of the essence in such situations. And hey, while you're at it, why not hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more informative and potentially life-saving content? Until next time, stay healthy, stay informed, and stay safe. Your health is in your hands.